Okay, going through solutions to the test problems. First problem. We are supposed to simplify the fraction. So the first thing you want to do is factor everything as much as possible. So in the numerator on the top, first thing to notice is that both the 3 and the 12 are divisible by 3. So I would factor out a 3. So that 3 goes away, leaving us with x squared. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Now, x squared minus 4 can also be factored. Two numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add to 0 are positive 2 and negative 2. In the denominator, we are looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add to negative 1. So since it's a negative number, we know we're going to have one positive, one negative. 1 is negative, which means the larger of the two numbers is going to be the negative one. So we could do negative 6 and 1, negative 3 and 2. Negative 3 and 2 is the one that's going to add to negative 1. So the denominator is going to factor into x minus 3 times x plus 2. So our fraction, after we factor it, is 3 times x plus 2 times x minus 2 all over x minus 3 times x plus 2. Look for things that can cancel. The x plus 2's can cancel. So our answer is 3 times x minus 2 over x minus 3. Our restrictions are from right here. So since we have x subtract 3, x cannot equal positive 3. X plus 2 means that x cannot equal negative 2. Second problem is division. Again, we want to factor first. So for x squared plus 2x minus 15, we are looking for two numbers that multiply to 15 and add to positive 2. So 15 and 1, since the 2 is positive, the smaller will be negative. We could do 3 and 5, so the 3 would have to be negative. Those are really our only options, and negative 3 plus 5 is what adds up to 2. So the numerator factors into x minus 3 times x plus 5. The denominator stays as x minus 3. X squared minus 4, again, is going to factor into x plus 2 and x minus 2 over 2. Since this is a division problem, you are going to leave the first fraction as is and flip the second fraction upside down and then multiply. Look for anything that can cancel. X minus 3's can cancel. And that's it. So we will have a 2 times x plus 5 over x plus 2 times x minus 2. Now look back at our denominators. So x can't equal 3, x can't equal negative 2, x can't equal positive 2, and look at the denominator from the original fraction. And that's just a 2, it doesn't have a variable, so there's no restrictions there. So this would be our final answer. For 3 and 4, we have an addition and a subtraction. In order to do addition and subtraction, we have to have a common denominator. So you look at the denominators of each of the fractions. This one has an x plus 5, this one has an x minus 5. So the least common denominator is going to be those two things multiplied together. So the second fraction is going to need an x plus 5, since it already has the x minus 5. And the first fraction is going to need an x minus 5. So simplify the first fraction. We have 2 times x minus 5 over x minus 5, x plus 5, plus x times x plus 5. Then you're going to distribute the 2 and the x. So 2 times x minus 5, 2x minus 10 plus x squared plus 5x all over x minus 5 times x plus 5. If we simplify that, combine like terms if we can in the numerator, we have an x squared, we have a 2x and a 5x, so that's going to add up to 7x, and then a minus 10. And again, that's over x minus 5, x plus 5. Now, x squared plus 7x minus 10 is actually not factorable, so we can't break that down and cancel anything. The directions do not say that you need to write down the restrictions, so you did not have to do that step. But if we were going to, if we look at our common denominator, x plus 5, x minus 5, x would not be able to equal 5 or negative 5. In number 4, we have another x squared minus 4. That is going to factor into x plus 2, x minus 2. Our second fraction has an x plus 2. It's just missing the x minus 2. So when I combine what I have, the 3x stays as is, minus 9 times x minus 2 over our common denominator of x plus 2 times x minus 2. Distribute the 9. So 3x minus 9x. Be careful because you have a negative 9 and a negative 2. So that's going to make positive 18. X plus 2, x minus 2. Look for common or like terms that you can combine. 3x minus 9x is negative 6x plus 18 over x plus 2 times x minus 2. It doesn't help to simplify this at all, but we should still be in the habit. If you look at 6 and 18, those are both divisible by 6. So we could take out a negative 6, and we'd be left with x minus 3. And in the denominator, we still have x plus 2, x minus 2. And x cannot equal negative 2, and x cannot equal 2. 5 and 6, I would say, probably gave people the most trouble. What you need to remember about these is that you're only dealing with a portion of it at a time. Only deal with the top for a minute. Ignore everything else. So you have 1 plus 2 thirds. And we want to write that as a single fraction. So we would need to have a common denominator of 3. So multiply top and bottom by 3. So 3 plus 2 gives us 5 over 3. So we have 5 thirds, and then we're going to divide that by whatever's on the bottom. Okay. So in the denominator, We have 3/4 subtract 1/3. What's the common denominator between 3 and 4? It's going to be 12. So to get 4 to 12, we'd need to multiply by 3 on top and bottom. To get 3 to 12, we would multiply by 4 on top and bottom. So I have 9 over 12. Subtract 4 times 1 is 4 over 12, which is going to give me 5/12. So I have 5/3 divided by 5/12. Division of fractions, we take the 5/3 and we multiply by the second fraction flipped, so 12/5. Cross reduce, 5s can cancel. 3 goes into 12 4 times, so we're just left with 4. And the second one, again, only focus on the top. So we have two fractions. We have a 1 over 1 and a 1 over x. To get a common denominator, they are both going to have to be x. So on the top, we have x plus 1 over x. On the bottom, we have a 5 over 1 and a 1 over y. So our common denominator is going to be y. So multiply 5 by y over y. So that's going to give me 5y minus 1 over y. So we're going to take the top, x plus 1 over x, and we're going to multiply by the bottom flip. So the y is going to go on the top, and the 5y minus 1 is going to go on the bottom. Now nothing here can cancel. So we have y times x plus 1 and x times 5y minus 1. Nothing can cancel, so that's our simplified solution.